Okay, greetings. Once again, this is Sabbath Saturday School. This is the fifth session here. So I hope all is well. This is the Reverend Dr. Claud A. Sinclair with Saturday School. This is part of our ministry, our three-pronged ministry, the Temple of Inner Peace and Prosperity, our Boardwalk School of Economics, the University in Your Home program, and the Boardwalk Management and Investment Group, business and legal department. But first of all, Saturday School, before we start getting more, matter of fact, I probably have a separate podcast just on dealing with economics, period. But on Saturday School right now, in the beginning, I've been dealing with the state of Black America, looking at the statistics and stuff. When I don't use that term, state of Black America, the likes and the people who view it goes up. So there we have a psychosis here. We don't want to deal with that issue. Just like in America, the issue of racism, we don't want to talk about it. We can't talk about politics. We can't talk about religion. We can't talk about racism and things that affect us in our daily lives. So that's what I like. The beauty about the internet is that in this podcast program is that you could listen to it whenever you want to, in the quiet of your own home, and meditate. So we're going to talk about, I want to, break a little bit. We can talk about the problems and so forth, but this is a solution-oriented movement that we want to deal with our spiritual essence. And I remember when I used to preach, this one gentleman, he said, man, you're like thunder, bro. Thunder, you bring it home. It's shocking to you. It wakes you up. And that's what this is all about. We got to shake ourselves and wake ourselves up and get out of this comfort zone. And especially in America, we think we're the only persons that's going through some things. But today first of all, I want to talk about spirituality. Spirituality versus religion. And I've been watching this program, a lady on Netflix called, Greenleaf? Yeah, Greenleaf is a series about a pastor in a black church. It's an interesting program. It's an interesting program, even though, they get their little biased point of views when they produce it, like, having on the stage, it was a shooting of a young man, and they brought the police in the church, and they paraded him in the church and, tried to soothe the community. But all the police officers on the stage were black, and there was only one white police officer. And I have another picture of Muhammad Ali in the Olympics, right? He was, battling some big, robust guys. It wasn't And in the movie, when they did Muhammad Ali, check it out, they did Ali. They had him on the podium with mealy-mouthed, weak-looking white people. So like, oh man, look at what they did. It's so we have to. And when you don't know better, then you look at the way the media projects black folk, and sometimes when the kids, that's the only thing they have to raise themselves is television, and no guidance and programming. And if you don't have a parent that's counteracting these things and setting a positive example, your mind can go into, because it's a blank slate. And if it's imprinted with negativity and destructive thought processes and habits, and you don't know anything else, then that's the outcome. And those of us who don't understand that, we need to show some empathy and understand that we have to go back. And we have to be a blessing to those who are left behind. Because you have to remember, too, that in history, when during the Emancipation Proclamation time frame, when the Africans who were enslaved at that time, which equals probably the population of the prison population, I think it was less slaves during that time than we have in prisoners, right? Could you just imagine all of a sudden all those 2 million prisoners being let go, which we want our long-term objective to be, because we want to dry up the system. We want to educate our children so they're not afraid to deal with life on life terms, and they're not, and also dealing with a system of oppression. So that's a modern day slave system that needs to be abolished, but we'll get to that in a minute, because as we strengthen ourselves and strengthen our minds and understand the landscape that we're dealing with, that we'll be able to resolve these issues just that they just repackaged and sent to us in a much more devastating manner. How they went through and like a slave raid, they raided our communities. First, they put the drugs there. They created debilitating conditions, took away the jobs and opportunities, so we couldn't have a vibrant life. And then they sent the slave traders in, the police departments in, and broke down homes and family structures. It's the same scenario, just a different kind of strategy, right? But we have to get into a point at these modern days where we can try to deal with this domestic terrorism in a different fashion, other than just marching. You can start seeing the tide start to change a little bit in society. And so we have to make sure we put that ugly beast in a box and put a lock on it and throw it away, right? So anyway, and also, you letting out 2 million people that haven't really been socialized to live, but it was worse than slavery, because now in the prison system, one of the reasons the rich is getting richer is because they got free labor. They have free labor, so the same thing with slavery, they had free labor. So this is that's why they're doing well, because they have free labor, right? And you even, the one who's the young lady, Camilla, I forget it, she's running for president now. And one of her statements right after I voted for her, the next few days came out her mouth, is that we can't reduce the prison population because it'll affect our labor force. I was like, wow. See, we need to take a position. We just need to start thinking. It's not, matter of fact, we have to stop being Democrat or Republican. We need to be right thinkers and doing what's right. We have to look out for our best interests, making sure our children get quality education and that we live in quality neighborhoods, and the police doesn't come in and destroy our community. The government doesn't send National Guards to our community in the modern times again. And understanding from a historical perspective what we're up against, right? But first of all, we need to start thinking different, because like a program like this, it just goes right by us. Or you could talk to somebody and try to talk to them about different topics of importance, like economics and building an economic infrastructure within our community. It goes right over their heads, because we've been talked at. See, we dance around the issue, but we're not able to come together to solve a problem, working together, investing together, making sure that these dysfunctional schools in our neighborhoods are dealt with, that they have proper trades and skills and so forth in our communities, start dealing with those issues instead of having that welfare disposition and that slave plantation mentality, thinking that somebody's going to take care of us and somebody's looking out for our best interests. See, we're good-hearted people, and we think good-hearted things, but that's not reality. If you just open up your eyes and see, we're not trying to talk about violence or anything like that. We're just talking about the only violence that's going to take place is in the renewing of your mind. That's the violent destruction, the atom bomb that's going to take place to clear out the cobwebs so you can reach back into your DNA and understand who you are as a people. And because just like yin and yang, there's no balance. There has to be balance, right? So today I want to talk about spirituality. What is spirituality? It's a lot of church folk. Spirituality. What is spirituality? What is that? I'm going to explain to you what spirituality is from my perspective. That I was blessed with, and it makes sense to me, right? but at least it's something to get you to think. I call it a think, something to think about, right? Spirituality is an inward manifestation. That's why it says in the scriptures, the kingdom of heaven is within, right? Jesus, the metaphorical figure in the Bible, the Christ was a spiritual figure, right? That his outward manifestation was that of a healer, a peacemaker, a lover of mankind, a shower of the way to the Father, which is a metaphor because that saying came off of the script of the walls in Egypt, where the young prince, people who wanted to come see the Pharaoh, right? The prince standing as a gatekeeper, telling those who wanted to visit the Pharaoh that I am the only way to the Pharaoh. I am the way. If you want to see the Pharaoh, you can only come through me, right? So that was the scripture that they took off the walls and put it into the Bible. You can only come to the Father through me, and I am the way, right? So spirituality is an inward manifestation. Religion is ceremony, show, pompous. And our churches are country clubs and cliques that serve themselves, right? Teach a man to fish, and he'll eat for a lifetime. In the short term, of course, you give him some bread, some fish, and some loaves, and some, feed him. But you got to teach a man, especially in the capitalist society, how to fish, so he can feed himself and his family, and possibly his neighbors when he needed to. And that's what in the Bible, when you talk about the laws, did away with the law. And most people, most black people, and probably others as well, think when he did away with the law, well, you're talking about sacrificing animals to God and blood on the altar and all that kind of stuff. And when they think about the law, right? Well, when what they really done is take away personal responsibility, right? Under the guise. But most people in their mind think that the slaughtered animals and all that kind of stuff. Back then they didn't have refrigerators and nothing like that. The community would come together as we would go through the spiritual laws of Maya. It was a way of life. Spirituality is a way of living with one another in order to build a cohesive society. So in the Bible, when they slaughtered animals and sacrificed, listen, everybody, the community would come together with their animals and so forth. And then it's just like you at the table. You don't have to go kill your animals anymore, but you sit there, you bless the food before you eat it. And you should bless it when you're done eating, right? But most people, after we get our stomachs full, we forget to say the blessing afterwards, because actually the scriptures say bless it afterwards, not before. But after you received it, the blessings, after you've eaten, say your blessings then, right? But try that, try that. You're going to say our blessings before, but then when you finish eating, remember to say the blessings. Try to do that and see what happens. Once your belly full, you forgot about all the blessings. You forget about the blessings, right? So the sacrificing, that's just them coming together. The community contributed. They worked together. Put all the foods together and stuff, feast together, and they would barbecuing. They had no refrigerators, no ovens, so they had to cook the meat, barbecue it, and so forth, like that, right? So when you say doing away with the law, forget about that animal sacrifice and all that kind of stuff. We do that every day when we go to the grocery store. They kill it. They just kill it in a different way in order to feed the masses. Then they just came together, and the sacrifice was like giving blessing to the food they're about to partake in, right? They didn't just leave it there and let it rot and think some God's going to come down to eat it. No. Some people ate that food, right? So, all right. So let's look at, let's see, on split screen here. This shouldn't affect so let's see. Okay. So now This is going to be this is